Alrighty, what's up, y'all? My name is Matthew Bacchus, and I am going to go over Erick Erickson stages of development. All right, and we're going to be focusing on one stage today. Before I get into all that, I just want to kind of give a little bit of background on this. Is that Erick Erickson designed this theory, I believe, coming from Sigmund Freud's idea that stages in human life and human growth have conflict. There's conflict involved in it. And because of those conflicts, virtue stems from it. A virtue, many virtues, or whatever the case may be. So keep that in mind when you're seeing these stages. Know that a virtue is related, a different virtue is related to each of those stages. All right. So there are 8 different developmental stages. Stage 1, trust versus mistrust. Stage 2, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Stage 3, initiative versus guilt. Stage 4, industry versus inferiority. Stage 5, identity versus confusion. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. Stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. And stage 8, integrity versus despair. And if you can notice that there are ages on the right-hand side of them, these are the ages that these stages fit inside of. Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on stage 5, identity versus confusion. All right, this is the adolescent stage, as you can see, 12 to 18. Some psychologists and theories say 13 to 18. I'm going to focus on 12 to 18 today. So again, here's the conflict: identity versus confusion. Those are 2 conflicts that arise in this adolescent stage. Like I said, it's 12 to 18 years old, and the virtue that stems from it is fidelity, loyalty. If you want to kind of just understand that, like, that is a huge theme in an adolescent's life, is being supportive, being connected. If there's a break in that, there's so much research that is involved in that. I mean, people try to find connection and belonging in many sorts of ways. And a lot of this stems from a break in the adolescent years. So keep that in mind as we're going through this. They're mostly defined more so by abstract thinking patterns. They are defined by hypothetical situations and how they process life. Also involved in their body is speculation on what could be possible. And that's also known as risky behavior, and, a lot of us in our teen years experience some type of risky behavior, whether it be emotional or physical, or mental. There is a desire for private lives and boundaries with parents, and there's also this little bit of confusion there where it's like, I want to be my own adult, but can you please pay for my phone bill? Can you give me money for the mall? Things like that, where there's a bit of confusion. And there's some psychologists who have said adolescence is kind of like the toddler version of adulthood. They're learning to grow. Adolescents have this perspective on puberty that they're trying to figure out. Men get more testosterone, hair on the face, stronger muscles. Women get breasts. They have periods, and they start fluctuating through that. So it's a lot of figuring out how I belong in this. There's a lot of single self versus trying out many possible selves. And it leads to this question at the end: who am I? What am I? Where am I? How do I fit in? A lot of self-discovery. And that's one thing that a lot of us clinicians need to understand, is that some of these values, and there's many more attributes that go to this, contribute to the development of an adolescent. So I love this painting right here. This is by Banksy. It's called Make Some Trouble. And you can see this young man, he's an anarchist, probably going to head out and go burn down a building right now, but still leaning on his mom to fix his bandana, and she has a thermos, a lunch pail, an apple, or some said that's a grenade, and it's still kind of like, they have different perspectives, but she's like, hey, don't forget to eat your lunch. Don't forget to eat your food that I made for you, but also don't forget to cause some trouble. So not necessarily go make havoc, but also figure out who you are. I want to support you and you're trying to figure out who you are. I love that. I think that's a really great perspective on identity versus confusion. So a lot of us clients, clinicians are wanting to work with our clients who are adolescents. And for me, I've worked with some of them. And here's some 4 things I believe that can be involved in the therapy room. To understand the worldview. More than likely, something happened in their home or in school that caused them to wind up in the therapy room with a stranger such as yourself. So to understand that, more than likely, they probably don't want to be there, or maybe they do and they just don't want to voice it. To distinguish that is important. To also distinguish that where your work is it clinical or developmental? And what I mean by that is developmental usually means there's mood fluctuation that's normal for an adolescent. The majority of the time there's sadness or angst or some type of like confusion there. And that's probably a point for you to be like, you're actually going through normal stages of development. In the clinical realm, if the mood is pervasive or violent, and it's disruptive to the normal stage of development, that's when the clinical diagnostic treatment plans come in. You need to build trust, and fidelity is very important with loyalty. And you need to distinguish interests. You got to understand that the interests their parents have are not the same interests that they have. So to really dive in, like, what do you think about faith? What do you think about gender roles? What do you think about politics? What are your thoughts on ownership, art, food, friendships, sports, whatever it may be, to really be in their world? That's all I have to say today. I'm really excited to talk more about this, and I hope you learned something today, and I hope to talk to you all soon.